You know what? I muted my mic last night for the restream. That's thanks, Lily. Appreciate it. Good morning. Sorry about that. I was saying really good things though. It was really like top tier explanation of all the funny things I was doing. uh, I bought the 4 earrings. Usually you get at least 2 mages. So in that case, I was really going just to try to set myself up to have multiple earrings. Extra ones at this point kind of become potential fodder for selling, but we'll see. Let's see. So I guess one thing that I'll just talk about briefly. So while I'm doing all this looting, I'm really trying to just keep track of like how much money I have, how much I'm getting. So I got the ribbon, I got the elixir, I got Soul Saber. I counted 30 grand. Ended up selling it for basically that much. Like that's really the big thing is you're trying to figure out how much you can kind of buy versus keep. One thing that a lot of people do that's potentially a mistake. I'm not going to turn away a couple warp stones here. Usually you end up using about 5 a seed-ish. If you're doing 100%, it might be closer to 10, but like just the normal seed, you probably want to get 5. Doesn't mean you'll use all 5, but like if the checks go a certain way, you very well might use 5. Let's see, Flame Shield, Ice Shield, Scimitar is good money. Not necessarily going to use that for anything. One thing I still don't have is dried meat. So I'm still looking for item shops. See, I have a rainbow shields already. Which is interesting, especially if I decide to do merchant strats. Ragnarok is huge. So with Ragnarok in hand, I'm definitely looking to put that Esper on Celeste and start getting Celeste fully online. Safety bit's good. It's good money. Seven shop dried meat hunt. Yeah, that's I mean, it's in 5 shops, and basically I think there's 17 item shops in the game. So yeah, it's one of those things where if your luck's bad enough, you could absolutely do that. And like the shops could be like Phantom Train and like Pharaoh Castle. So it might be only like 1 or 2 are out in the wild. That's one of the problems with dried meat is just how little it takes for it to be a problem to find it. So that gauntlet is absolutely helpful. So Scimitar can go. Safety bit can go. So Gauntlet's huge for an early start, especially with Ragnarok. So like I almost always buy Gauntlet just because I'm very likely to end up getting at some point during the seed. I'm pretty much always likely to get a big stick and put it on one of my big characters, Illumina or Ragnarok. So if you see a Gauntlet, it's usually worth buying. So this is me looking for dried meat. So while I'm here, one thing that I didn't find that I'm interested in getting is Atlas Armlet. If I wasn't on a dried meat hunt and I wasn't in Albrook, I'd probably wait and not get it. Like, I'd wait until like Moblies and see if I could get Atlas Armlet. But in this situation, since I'm here, I'm figuring just go ahead and look. And of course it's no good, but it's intel that other people wouldn't have though, right? Now I did get the hero ring. The hero ring is just as good, if not better. That's one of the advantages, like if you pop into a town, like at least look in the item and weapon shops. Otherwise you're kind of doing yourself a disservice. Like you might be leaving something on the table that you want, or somebody else could find, put it that way. So gauntlet, hero ring. Oops. So I'm looking for strength or speed. So Galbing Shock means that he has a little bit of a lower threshold to actually be viable. You know what, I'm just gonna go. So when you have a trench like this, I need to be a little bit careful because scaling is up to 12, and I'm at level 3. So like, if this isn't something I can beat with Shock or beat with Celis with just 1 or 2 swings, I do have to be ready to basically leave if need be. This is all undead, so this is actually a really good use case for all the revivifies I bought. So this is why I bought 7, is for a fight like this. You really don't want to mess with liches, because they do counters all the time. The apparites are relatively safe. Anytime you can do like revivifies and kill undead enemies though, it's definitely worth your time. So 3,000 experience is kind of my like early threshold, because it gets you around level 10. So just one fight getting 3,000 is huge. Now some of that is because of the higher multiplier. It's 2.5 experience scaling as opposed to just 2. But overall, it's a really good thing to have that. So the reason that guy got a turn off is because I kind of paused in the menu for a second. Or well, I paused while I wasn't in the menu. Alright, Celeste's Ultima. Keep in mind, this is cheap Ultima. But the reason she has the Esper isn't for Ultima. It's really for the Strength Plus. Like, I don't really necessarily need Celeste to be a mage. Now, I definitely want to keep that in mind, obviously, that like there's an Ultima in the game. Because that could be a game changer if I get a rough seed or have rough fights, anything like that. You're not supposed to get me. So, sometimes it's worth taking a fight like that just because Tiger Fangs are sellable. I just didn't want to have him, like, actually take me out, do damage. So walking out of this check, I actually got so much power and so many levels that I have a lot of options available to me. I'm kind of hedging towards going to Kefka and Narsh. We'll see if this is a character, but I'm probably going to go do Mog's checks after this. The reason also is because doing Magitech is kind of painful. Like being forced to do Magitech is potentially a problem. So. Yeah, I don't mind doing it, I just don't want to do it first. You could make the case that I shouldn't have healed there, I should have waited until after Lone Wolf, but if this really goes sideways somehow, I'm probably going to end up leaving. I can always drop a secondary save up at the top. Like if I'm gonna take Lone Wolf, accept whatever that is, and then go to Kefka Narsh. Like I have a few options. It was important to see there was lock in the Morrow cave. So if I get a Morrow and I need a character still, I'm gonna go straight to his check to go chase that lock. There's nothing really critical there. That's just practice and movement. You don't gain and or lose a lot of time in those situations. Let's see, Genji Glove. So Genji Glove's interesting with the Ragnarok already in hand. That might be worth me going after. So probably would be better for me to save, but in the back of my mind, I have Ultima on Celeste. I'm not really too worried about whatever this happens to be. And I have like shields on everybody. Like I'm not overly worried about this fight. Now, famous last words and all. It could be this is a terrible idea, but you can selectively be aggressive. I'm more aggressive than a Moogle should be, so I would say save before every check, just in case you run into something foul, a Doomgaze, Magimaster, whatever the case might be, a Skycap Marshal that wants to be rude. Yeah, unfortunate, but not the end of the world. Oh. I got one more bite of the apple here, so I'm going to take advantage. So I intentionally waited until after that Phoenix Down animation ended just to see if Marshall was going to take a turn. When I saw he didn't take a turn, then I just went ahead and went with Mog. So that's why I was in my menu, jumped out of my menu to see if he did something, and then moved on. That was intentionally done to try to make the most of the situation. Alright, so what is the sign in mind? I'm actually going to ignore Moogle Defense for now, because science checks are fast and lucrative. So, like, going back and just saying, you know what, hey, I want to do a check with a long cutscene and it's going to take time, etc., etc. It's like, doesn't really make sense right now. So I'm going to try to push the advantage I do have, which is basically do this. It was a good thing that I actually got experience out of that fight with Celeste. So Celeste's levels are like one of the biggest things about this seed at this point, because her physical damage is going to depend on that, especially in a fight like this. So you could do Ice 2. Quite frankly, Celeste is going to do a lot more damage. Even if I did Ice 2, it'd only do like 600 or 700. And it just wouldn't be worth my time. So I was more worried about just letting Celeste's ATB go as quickly as possible. Just because that's the most efficient way through that fight. So there's times to like protect your ATB, make sure that your team gets more turns than the boss does. And there's times where like I want Celeste to take as many turns as quickly as possible. I don't really care what everybody else does. That's a really nuanced advanced level thing, but it's something to start thinking about of like, when do you just want Celeste to be the only person whose ATB you protect? You don't have to protect everybody's ATB, but Celeste's might in particular be the one you want, or whoever your best character is in a given situation. Torado is interesting, but doesn't really do anything for me right at this moment. So, with Cyan being the last character I got, I fully intend to just full clear all of his checks. One thing I will say it's a little noteworthy is that I haven't touched a dragon here. And part of the reason I haven't touched a dragon is just because I already kind of have plenty of power and I'm pretty happy with what I have. I could get that Ultima learned on somebody as soon as I want to. I might use a dragon fight to do that. So this is like, I'll do this not because it's like what I was imagining doing from the beginning, but this would be the fight to use Ultima and take advantage of having extra power. So Celeste normally would just back attack everything, and this would be a fast fight. It's a fast fight anyway, but... if you have good multi-target, like power, it's not a bad idea to just take advantage of it there. So I said earlier that I was going to make Gao my mage. So to make Gao my mage, like if I get a Magic Plus Esper, I pretty much want to keep it on him most of the time. So it's going to make Shock marginally okay. It's not going to ever be like the best spell I have, but it's good enough for what it is. Not really a lot to talk about here. I would say the one thing that I am kind of thinking about in the back of my head is, so if I walk out of here, so I know this isn't a character, so I'm going to walk out of here at least 4 and 7, if not 4 and 8. So Espers don't matter as much anymore. So like if I find a character, I'm going to chase the character, chase that character's checks, with the intention / goal of just trying to go as quickly as I possibly can. Also, because I'm getting so much progression, so like 7 of the 8 checks I've done so far are progression checks, and it's getting another guaranteed one here. There's a good chance before this is all said and done that you know what, I'm actually gonna steal here. Let's take a shot, honestly. So, all the pieces, the arms and the main body of Inferno, actually, you can steal shields. Also, if you hot swap a shield onto somebody during the fight, they'll learn the, like, whatever it is. It's a way to actually get, if you have Paladin Shield, to learn Ultima. It's also a way to break the curse, too. Like, you can start a fight without the curse and then put it on. So I just got Merton. Merton in hand with shields on everybody is really interesting. Sorry, I don't have Merton protection. I should correct myself. Celeste doesn't have Merton protection because she has the gauntlet on. So I would have to find an alternate mean to, like, protect her. Alright, so I'm interested in both of those. So what I did there is I got X-Zone on Sion, just knowing that he might be able to take advantage of that. Also, I'm about to do Mount Zozo, because again, I want to chase the characters I got last. So like Mount Zozo is the fastest check, and it's also like the most likely to be the character I need for progression. So that's part of what I'm actually doing here, is looking for progression wherever it is. At this point in the seed, I really don't need much. Like, I just want to go. I am going to take the dragon here. The one thing that I should do, in fact, one thing I will do, I'm going to flip the Espers on Mog and Celis, so Mog has Ultima. Which one was it? Zone State? No. So it's sacrificing that strength plus for a fight, but I'm also getting Fire 3, Ultima, and sorry, got distracted. So I'm teaching Mog Ultima, that way he's viable on a lane in K2. Celeste is going to be viable anyway. And then Gal's learning Fire 3 off this fight, which will make him better for the Kefka fight. So I don't plan on switching my Espers very much. I'll probably put the magic. So I'm gonna do like Gal's Esper goes on Mog, Mog's Esper goes on Celeste, and then whichever one's left over is gonna go on Gal. So Unicorn on him, Seraphim here, and whoever doesn't have an Esper is getting Fire 3. And that's pretty close to the last time I'm gonna touch my Espers. I don't need Ultima on Gal because he has Shock. So just a reminder, I know that Lock is up there. So I'm walking out of this with basically So I have the option on Gal's check here, or on Amara's check, to basically get the dragon, Tritalk, his actual check, and then Locke's weapon shop, all as one trip. So I'm at 12 checks now. I could walk out of Nourish World of Ruin at 16. So I actually have like something to think about here of how much do I really want to push the advantage I have. At 16 checks at say 33, 34 minutes, if I have unlock at that point, if Tritalk and or weapon shop is an Esper, then all of a sudden I do have like the option to just go straight into KT. And it's more likely than not that I will. So like, the one thing that's a little bit concerning is actually my power, because I'm like level like 30-ish, or well right now I think I'm like 28. The dragon and the fights up here will probably get me up to like 33, 34, which is kind of weak for a physical attack. Like Celeste is really my best damage. So like unless I get a second sword here, I really do have something to think about, like in terms of like what's the fastest way through the rest of the suit. So I really don't want to... I guess I don't have a... So this is a good way for me to test how much damage I'm doing. It's not bad. I definitely want to get experience on everybody, every fight. Like if at all possible, I want to try to make sure everybody just keeps getting experience, keeps building. So that Minerva would be Calmness Protection. Or not Calmness, so... Wait. You have the pearl on him? So, Merton Protection, sorry. So, with Merton Protection in hand, I have the option to just go and finish the game. I may or may not, we'll see. Yeah, big thing with fish here is just don't go into your menu if you can help it. Don't even sit on a command. You really want the timer to run as quickly as possible, as fast as you can. Like, as long as the ATBs are running on the side, then everything's fine. So Celeste will basically end the fight, so I'm fine. So this whole time I'm kind of gauging Celeste's strength. Like if she's swinging about 5k a swing, she's going to beat most of the World of Bounce bosses at least one, if not two swings. So a little unlucky unless that's, well, it's an egg. So that does change the power calculation a little bit here. The other thing that I was doing in my menu, it wasn't obvious, but I was looking at my level to see if I was multiple 5. If I was multiple 5, I go back to the save spot before this next boss fight. But since I was on 33, like this is safe, I just want to go. Putting the egg on Celeste here really is indicative of me wanting to put as much power onto Celeste as possible. So I know that she has Ultima too, right? So Celeste is okay by herself. I wouldn't mind now splitting my party. So I can put Ragnarok on Locke. I can put Ragnarok on Celeste. So I'm gonna Ultima the crap out of this guy. There's no faster way through this fight other than just dodging magic defense with Ultima. I'll go ahead and Merton for good measure. Merton also works really well here. Honestly, I didn't give him a chance to spam Doom, so he didn't even fill his ATB a second time. Yeah, like he starts with an empty ATB after he does level 5 Doom. So like if you can get 3 turns in, like it's not even a full rotation through the party. Alright, so with Lock in hand, I want to go straight up to his track. If this isn't an Esper, I probably do the front 2 of Match Attack. So it's 16. I actually have the option to do skip if I wanted to. Yeah, Shote's fine. So I'm gonna do the aggressive thing. So the safe thing would be send everybody in the KT or go get skip. So I could get skip right now. I'm at 17, or sorry, 16 checks. What I could do is basically front 2 of Magitech and then Opera Dragon. I don't feel the need to do that though. So with Shock and Merton, I think Gal's gonna be fine by himself. And then I have Ultima on Celeste, so there's nothing that Celeste is gonna run into that's unsolvable. Especially with her having the Minerva on. Because I'm doing Merton strats, I'm going out of my way to put Merton protection on Locke here. It would be best if I remember to pull that shield off before the final fight. But I also have shields on the other 3 characters. So I'm not too worried about it. So the best person to actually have a have the snow muffler here would probably be Celeste because she's in the front row with Ragnarok. But we'll see what happens. I'm not going to worry about that until after she clears her whole side. It's really not necessary for me to do any box opening or anything of that nature. If I remember correctly, I do have a Cure 3 Esper on Sion. I think Mog had. You know what? I do need to check this real quick. Alright, he's good. So if he has Cure 3, X-Zone, and Break, then I'm pretty much happy. One of my characters, I don't know who it is right at this moment, has mute. So I pretty much have all the utility I want. I have Fenrir for colonist protection. I really just want to go. I don't want to spend a lot of time finishing this game. I'm going to wait and see what Evil Tooth does. So that's his role in the party, is to use Exxon. So I'm going to let him do his thing. So if I had... So I'll do this, not because I don't have confidence in Celeste, but just to show it. Actually, here's a reason to do it. So if I was on a multiple 5, it wouldn't be a bad idea to just take the Dragon Fight. I'm going to take the Dragon Fight here just to get Celeste a little bit stronger. I have a lot of faith in this party. I'm really lucky I didn't get an opening gambit from White Dragon here. So 6,000 swing means that Celeste is basically going to be hitting for like 8, getting into Final Kefka. Keep in mind that I don't have the hero ring on. Yeah, our ATB is pretty decent for, most of that's Ragnarok, honestly. Some of that is the Moogle Cup, like, stats, because it's, what, 85% to 120, I think? The randomization, like, the stat randomization's higher, or it's like 90 to 125, something like that. It's not that, I put that Speed Plus Esper on her or anything like that. There is a Speed Plus Esper. It's one way to really get a melee character going, but I didn't necessarily need to worry about it here. So hitting these skip switches around 41 minutes is really, really cruising. That's a, no matter what flag site you're doing, you could be doing Super Ball Relay and getting to the switches at 40 minutes is pretty good. I mean, definitely this is a favorable seed. And nothing cheaper than something free. I could have took a shot at just letting Sign finish that, but at this point I'm not too worried. All the bosses are going to have level 30 HP. Again, whenever she's actually taking her like swing, I'm gonna be in my menu, otherwise I'm just getting as many turns on Celeste as I possibly can. Again, she's hitting for 7,000, add 25% to that, and that's what her like actual damage will be in KT, in the actual Kefka fight. So I'm gonna be in a pretty good spot. If she's hitting pretty close to max damage, like that's what you want. That's pretty close to ideal. I already have Fenrir on Sign too. So honestly, my only job here is to not screw up with everybody else. Both Gal and Locke, or sorry, Gal and Mog are natural snow muffler users. So we're gonna send a message here. So I intentionally used the the dialogue there, the quick moment, to not kill Lock off, but then also still get the shield off of him. I'm actually fine with him having Behemoth suit. Which means I'll probably put the Snow Muffler here on Mog after this fight. So I'll do max damage with Fire 3. So I'm just going to go ahead and use Fire 3 and not worry about it. Yeah, I don't have X-Zone, don't have any way to just clear Senior Behemoth out, so... I mean, 2 Fire 3s are enough. I'm not going to argue. One thing that I probably should have done is should have looked at who had Mute. Somebody has Mute, and I don't remember who it is. That's the one thing that I did that's gonna take a second during the actual Kefka fight. With the Mara in this party, I would have wanted to lock alive regardless. So I want to look real quick. Yeah, ATB wise, everything else, I just have to go. Oof, sub 45 Kefka switches. This very well might be the fastest I've been here. Not gonna lie, this is... I'm cruising. I'm really cruising on this one. Alright, so Locke and Amara. Locke's character 5, Amara's character 6. I know I have Fenrir on Scion, I have Cure 3 on Scion, I have X-Zone on Scion, and Mute is somewhere. It could be on Celeste, but it's definitely somewhere. So, I have all the pieces. I have Ultima. Really, it's just... The only thing I didn't do, I may not have put the hero ring on Celeste. That might be the big mistake I made, but not the end of the world. So I want Sign to take the first turn and try to X-Zone Buddy off the map here. So Mog's so strong at this point that I don't really have to worry about him. Of course that happens, but... So I need to take a second here and just make sure that I heal. So Gal's the one that had Mute. So this Ultima will finish the phase. I didn't swing with Celeste there just to remove the uncertainty of Celeste getting critted. So a normal hit just did how much damage? Like 2 grand. Her defense is really bad. And some of that's because she doesn't have a shield on. So that was a little bit sloppier than I would have liked, but it was partially because of the XM not hitting. Not the end of the world, just a slight delay. So I want Gao to use mute, I want Sign to use X-Zone. Once I mute and X-Zone and get tools now, then this is pretty much just do Ultima and don't mess up. Celeste can swing normal, but Mog's going to be pretty critical to the strat here. Anybody that has Ultima, by the way, also learned Osmos. Osmos was on the same Esper. So, in this case, I'm going to actually take a turn here, just to try to recharge Mog. Given how many Ultimas I already did, this should put him in 10 hit. It's actually a little dangerous. Celeste doesn't block well after taking that 560. Now with Merton protection in hand already, I already know that I'm safe. The one thing that's a little awkward with the routing here is, long story short, I don't have an easy way to like do more than 10,000 damage. So I'm going to be watching his ATB like a hawk and damage counting pretty carefully here. I actually want to take both turns here. Normally you wouldn't want to burn this much time healing, but I kind of have to. I can't take the risk of something terrible happening. Because I'm going to be at risk of taking 2 swings. Alright, so I've done, give or take, about... So, I'm going to take Celeste's turn, and then I'm going to see what happens here. I may have to use an echo screen. Alright, I didn't have to use an echo screen, so I'm fine. If I was feeling less confident, I would use Cure 3. I also could have broke a shield there, just to guarantee myself through that. So... This kind of Kefka fight probably doesn't take much more than about a minute and a half, so like 40, 54-ish is kind of what I'm looking at, which is unreal. that's that's a time. That's a unreal time. I'm gonna try to break shields and go as quickly as I can through this. I have so many like resources that I might as well take advantage of it. Yeah, I kind of healing there was because I was worried about ultimate counters. I can't do more than 10,000 damage, so I didn't want to be caught with my pants down, basically. This Pearl Rod finishes it, though. Sub 55 Moogle Cup. That's a time. That's a that's a seed. Oh jeez. Hey B dude, appreciate GG's Lily. Thank you. Wow. I'll have to thank Noob Tree for that one. Hey Poots. Good morning. Happy New Year, by the way. I haven't seen you. Yeah, that's crazy. I very rarely do you get a seed that's that RNG friendly. That was unbelievable. But I mean, that was a lot of fun, obviously. I think just to like go through my thoughts. So it is a Moogle Cup seed. Getting the Ragnarok in, I think it was what, South Figure basement. So like that was step one to power there. Step two was looking for Atlas Armlet and running into Hero Ring in Albrook. So I was able to pair